The director of Alien, Choi Dong-hoon, was a director I trusted. All of his previous films were successful at the box office. The reviews weren't bad either. One of the most important things for a commercial filmmaker is the box office and the audience's review. So in that sense, Alien was not good at the box office or the audience's reviews. If it's a failure the first time, it's a failure. The bigger problem is that it's not just one movie, it's a two-parter. The first part was released first, and then the second part was finally released over a year later. The good news is that while the first part was a flop at the box office, it was surprisingly different when it was released throughout and other places. I saw it in the theater and it was fun. If I had to guess a reason for its failure, I would say that it was a genre that Korea is not used to at all. It was made with unique Korean material, but it had a lot of cartoonish elements. It was not only the fact that aliens were invading Korea, but it was also a martial arts story, so it would not have been easy to follow. It's a genre that younger people don't understand, but older people might not like it. All the shooting was already done, so the only thing left was the editing. I watched it over and over again, and I heard that director Choi Dong-hoon edited it. Before the movie starts, Kim Tae-ri kindly explains what happened in the first part. There was a pretty unexpected twist at the end of part 1, when Ryu Jun-yeol said that the alien that was in Su's sub was possessed by him. And it was interesting to see that memories start over when they are transferred to a new host. Kim Tae-ri runs off with the divine sword and Mil Bond chases after her. Ryu Jun-yeol didn't die, he came back to life, but there's an unknown power inside him. Originally, Yeon Myung-ah and Jo Woo-jin were going to kill him, but they didn't. They didn't know what exactly was inside him, so they just checked it out when he was younger and let him live. They thought about just killing him this time, but in the end, they agreed that if it manifests, they'll kill him then. After Ryu Jun-yeol wakes up, we do some hemostasis and so on, and he emits an energy in his left hand that we think might be an unknown identity. Suddenly, the movie flashes back to 2022, where we were earlier in the movie, and Lee Hae-myung, who we thought was just in a friendship, has a secret. He's a customs officer, not a special agent of any kind, and he's pretty good at martial arts. It turns out that Lee Hae-myung is a descendant of Jin Song-gyu, who will be appearing in Alien 2. Jin Song-gyu was in Melbourne, and he lost his eye to Kim Yui-sung, but he worked hard to learn martial arts. Jin Song-gyu told him that if something happened in 22, he had to use a weapon that had been in his family for generations. And then we see the same thing we've already seen in part 1, but this time in the present from Lee Hae-myung's perspective. So it's kind of like a device to make it so that you don't have to have seen part 1. But even if you didn't, all of the characters that went back in time have to come back to the present. And that's where the pattern becomes really important, because when they come back to the present, they're all kind of thrown into it unprepared, and they're all weak compared to the aliens. The only way we can fight them on an equal footing is with health and weapons, so that's where the rewatch comes in. One of the questions we had when we went back in time was the disappearance of Kim Woo-bin, the Thunder, and that's all resolved in part 2. It brings back a lot of the rice cakes that we had in part 1, but it also gives us a little bit of a twist. And it shows us that all the characters we've seen so far weren't there for nothing. Instead, Kim's role is diminished in part 2. There's a new character, Jin Song-gyu, who's solely in the past, and he's quite powerful. He's blind, but he's stronger than a normal person because he can use his ears to show his martial arts. In fact, most of the comedy in this movie, like in the first movie, comes from Yeon Myung-ah and Jo Woo-jin. Especially in the episode where they're in the gym, and they think the monster on the treadmill TV is real. And they beat it up, and in the process, they get on the treadmill and keep running, and it's really funny. It was the same in Alien Part 1, but they both modulate their voices and do funny things with seriousness so naturally. And Ryu Jun-yeol is so good at it that it adds to the fun. While there are several main characters, The centerpiece of the drama is Kim Tae Ri, whose completely different appearance in the beginning, middle, and end keeps the drama focused. Once Kim Woo Bin appeared, Lee Hae-pyong and Yong Young-ah's heart popping out of their eyes was hilarious. And I laughed at every comic set up in the movie in the beginning and middle. I laughed at the devices that were set up to make me laugh. I think the environment is a little better than when the first part failed at the box office. I honestly don't know if it's going to be a box office success or not, because I enjoyed part 1. Part 2 reaps everything it sowed in part 1 and makes you accept it. Moreover, it was hinted that So Ji-sub went into Ryu Jun-yeol at the end of part 1. After the midway point, it becomes more focused with the development that it might not be Ryu Jun-yeol but Kim Tae Ri. I watched it on Screen X, but honestly, I don't think it's necessary to watch it on Screen X. I think it's a good movie.